You're on stage. What led you to bring the dog? What part of today thought, you know what, this is the perfect day to bring the dog?
I thought I'd liven up the atmosphere, you know? I'm sure you all want to go home being a Friday evening,
Yes.
and having heard so many speeches, I wanted to make it memorable.
Yeah, well, you've certainly done that, and I think we've got 6 guards, this is a true story, there's 6 guards at the door waiting to get a hold of that dog. I can't see.
You were the one who said, just bring him along, and I said, are you sure there's no problem? You said, don't worry, you can manage.
Well, I sort of thought you were half joking when you asked me that. So why don't we go into...
So this is Mr. Dim Sum, by the way. I forgot to mention he hates clapping. So maybe you can just use your fingers, you know? Okay, then he'll come back.
Okay, Elsa, I'm going to leave it to you to talk on your brain. Then once you're ready, come down and sit, and we'll just do a little bit of Q&A and say thank you, everybody.
Okay, wow. Well, it's an honour to be here. And I thought I'll start with saying that I'm not a genius, sadly, or 21. However, I do shoes, well I should say sex on shoes, which takes a little bit of experience. So, I'm the founder of Mary Ching. I came to Shanghai, sorry, a bit nervous with the pub and all, 6 guards outside. I came to Shanghai in 2006 with a vision to start Mary Ching. And I'm standing here with living my dream, I suppose. So the idea of Mary Ching is embracing my Eurasian heritage. It's the tensions of East meets West. It's the tensions of women being strong and vulnerable, as you can hear myself. It's about finding identity and I suppose building a brand which you can kind of relate to, and it's all coming down to lifestyle. So that's really where the idea came. I think we can go to the...
You've got the clicker right there.
So when Andrew came in to meet me,
Look at that.
Oh.
Don't you look cute when you're in high school?
It's a bit embarrassing. But so when Andrew came to visit me, he said, you know, tell us about what defines you, what made you who I am today. So actually I didn't have an answer for him, which is quite unusual because normally I just wheel the answers off. So I slept on it and I thought, what makes me different and why am I the way I am? So I thought, it's all about background and upbringing. So I was very privileged. My father was a diplomat and I was very fortunate to go to English boarding school, hence the photo on the left. Now, with boarding school, as some of you might know, you're kind of forced into a square to fit in. So you wear uniform, you join the lacrosse team, the netball team, the tennis team. I joined the choir and mimes because actually I'm totally deaf, but I wanted the badge. Hence, you might notice I've got all the badges down my jumper. But I might have been a prefect, but actually I was expelled from that school. So
It's a surprise.
So I didn't fit in. And I actually proceeded to the next boarding school and was expelled from that one as well. So I think when Andrew asked me that question, why am I the way I am? I think I never fit in. And I think growing up in England, you wanted to be like all the other English girls, which I wasn't. And actually it's ironic that my brand is embracing not fitting in. So I think, you know, my message and experience of being an entrepreneur is that embrace being different, embrace your differences, and maybe you can find a voice that way.
It's fantastic.
So am I allowed to sit down?
You want to describe this photo on the left for me?
I'm just curious where my pug is. Is he right? Okay. Do you need his lead?
Okay, let's just go a little bit deeper into what you've built. Let's just describe it to the audience because I didn't really touch on it. What have you built right now? Where does your business stand right now?
Well, let me just start with what I do, which is 2 products. So I like to say on the left, you have the orgasm with the shoes, and on the right you have the zen with the slippers.
Fantastic. And the inspiration for the orgasm was... You don't have to answer that. So, do you have a chain of retail stores?
I can answer that question. See, it's the 24-hour needs of a woman.
Okay. I feel like apologising to my fiancé over there. So you are, this is good, isn't it? Did you remember seeing Brian Wong squirm when he started to talk about tampons? Why is it that men, when we go anywhere near that region, we start to become uncomfortable? So can you just describe how many stores you've got now? What are you doing? You're distributing
How many orgasms?
Is it hot? It's hot, right?
Good way of breaking the ice. I hate saying apologies. I started, well actually it's a fun story how I began. And you're asking how many outlets we have, but I think let's start from the beginning. Because I came to China with a dream to be a luxury shoe designer. And I really had no background in shoe design. I come from a design background from Central St. Martin's, but actually I did styling and journalism. So I came here, I didn't know anyone, I didn't speak the language, although my father's Chinese, but that's why there's a mother language, mother tongue. And 10 on me, fine, every time I say on. I started looking for factories to start sampling, and I made a small collection. I started getting great press. China Vogue was covering us. It was really quite remarkable. The phone started ringing, and my father was visiting. He said, look, you've got all this press, you've got the phone ringing, you've got nothing to sell. First problem. So he shipped me on the bus to Haining, which is a leather city in China, and he said, go make something. So with this brief, I went there, and I found this very nice, endearing Chinese factory maker of slippers. Now, talking about entrepreneurship and how you get started, I had the dream of being luxury shoes, and here I was in Haining doing slippers. Not quite the sex appeal I had in my mind, but I went with the flow, and in my bad Chinese and sketches, I started sketching my own designs of slippers. The factory owner said, come back in 10 days and pick up the samples, which I did. And then that evening I was actually invited to a dinner hosted by Paul Lau, who, for those that don't know, is quite a socialite and hosts dinners for 66 people. Now I walk up to this dinner with a bag of samples straight from the factory, and the editor of Vanity Fair LA was there. She came up to me and said, oh, I heard you're a shoe designer. I want to see. I said, look, I don't want to be rude to the host. Let's quietly have dinner, and quietly afterwards I can show you the samples. Anyways, as you can imagine, it became a slipper and champagne party, and I sold all my samples. So I suddenly thought, we're onto something, and I went back to Haining and placed an order for 120 pieces, which at the time seems like so many. So, just going to how did I start and where am I now? So I had 120 pairs of slippers, and I had an intern at the time, and she said to me, so what are we going to do with 120 pairs of slippers? I said, that's a really good question. And she said, well, my father back in England has a diving equipment store. And one day a Chinese man came in and he bought everything. So obviously we were very curious to know who he was. Turns out it was Eric Kwok, the owner of the Shangri-La Group. So she thought, well, why don't we contact him? Well, with no other options, I thought, what a great idea. So we did. And he put us in touch with the director of rooms, who liked our product, and then we started actually selling in the Shangri-La Group, which then tickled our idea to start contacting five-star hotels, which is why we ended up going to the Mandarin Oriental, and we've been partners with them for more than 5 years. And we sell, I think, I have to ask Caroline, but I think we're selling 12 Mandarin Orientals worldwide now, and still expanding. And so it's kind of happened organically. So the long story of the answer is, I think we sell in 10 countries, maybe close to 50 boutiques and outlets at the moment, and obviously still growing.
And then how are you spending your time? Are you the creative lead for the business? Are you driving international expansion?
Well, originally, I would say last year we were doing 60% China, 40% outside of China, but it seems to be shifting. So we're quite aggressively participating in trade fairs, and we have a showroom in London that represents UK, France, and Germany and Italy. So we're finding, it's a little bit of chicken and egg. So buyers want you to be in China, and China buyers want you to be in Europe. So it's kind of like, who's going to be the first to take us on?
Right, and then amongst your peers, have you found it, are you surrounded by other female entrepreneurs as you go on this journey, or do you find it's all dominated by men? Where do you find that creative engine or the inspiration throughout your community?
Well, funny enough, I think Shanghai is really female-cheap, and there's a lot of female entrepreneurs, so I find it quite remarkable that you could only find me.
Well, I think you were the best too.
Thank you. But no, I know a lot of female entrepreneurs. I think there's a lot of opportunity, and actually we're embraced.
Yeah, when we first spoke, you said you often speak at these types of events. So what is it that I know there's a few people in retail in the audience who are looking to grow a chain and develop their own brand. What do you say to these people when they're first setting out to do that?
I think the core, or certainly a big importance when you start retail or a brand, is to have an essence, a heart, a soul of the brand. I went to quite an extensive exercise of developing our brand DNA, which is forbidden opulence, which is the tension between Chinese opulence and British eccentricity. And it sounds so simple, and also just kind of understanding, you know, we all laugh about it, the orgasm and the zen and the 24 hours of a woman, but it brings it together. It makes sense, it makes it memorable. And I think it's really important for us, or for brands, retail, to have that story, to have something that makes sense and it can engage. And I think it's really important that DNA comes through everything, packaging, retail, you know, your core essence, culture of your company. And that's what people buy into. It's buying into the lifestyle, which I mentioned earlier.
So how many people in your team now?
We're still quite small. I think we're 8 full-time.
Full-time, they're all based here in Shanghai?
Shanghai and Singapore.
Okay. And so what next for you guys? Is there a vision? Is there a company that you aspire to be like? Or
well, I always say Kingdom.
Yeah.
So it's the growing of the kingdom. I think we're going to push on our sales. We want to, I mean, the passion in the brand is the shoes, but it's the most competitive industry. Whereas the slippers is a cultural product, and it's been really interesting. I mean, when you talk about entrepreneurship and business, you have to be flexible. So I came here wanting to do the heels, and the slippers have been kind of our core, so to say. But now we've kind of laid the basis, and we're trying to focus on the shoes now and bring that into more of a centre stage.
And so did the international community adopt your slippers? Is that your top seller?
You know, well, yes and no. Can I say that? Buyers don't get it. It's really strange. You go to trade fairs and they're like, oh, the slippers are cute, but we wouldn't put them in the shoe department, and we wouldn't put them in the lingerie department, so we don't really know where to put them. And I kind of look at them and think, well, isn't that your problem to figure out? But, you know, they do sell extremely well in our hotels. You know, we're with the 5-star hotel group, so the Armands, Shangri-La, Hyatts, Grand Hyatts, Four Seasons. But, you know, obviously we want to get more into department stores, but they just seem to be a little bit slower to adapt.
Okay, great. And so I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you for bringing yourself and your pug. Is the pug okay now? Pug's taken away.
Security guards have him.
I think a few people out there want to talk to you. So I hope you make it safely out of the building, and I hope we don't cop too much for it. Then please thank Alison Yeung.